Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the More You Noble Sports Podcast. Today is October the 12th, 2022. It is postseason baseball. But before we get into the Cardinals debacle and the rest of the postseason, let's go ahead and give a moment of silence for the 2022 St. Louis Cardinals season. Okay, now what do we do? What's next?
I don't know. It's the fourth time we've done that.
Well, nobody knows that. So as far as they're concerned, that's the first time.
We've had some Wi-Fi issues that have hindered us from recording this podcast and actually being able to upload it. But what's next? I don't know. I mean, who do you root for? I thought Seattle was going to steal one yesterday in Houston, the first game. And Yordan Alvarez, they brought in Robbie Ray, their big-time free agent, the big fish they caught. And he just leaves a two-seamer right over the middle of the plate, and Yordan does not miss. Pitches right over the plate.
Here's the thing, I'm a Robbie Ray fan. I like his look. Tight pants, great look, whatever. Hey, go with it. If you can rock it, go with it, right?
He's fun.
Yeah, he's awesome. But, man, he wasn't good in Toronto. And then to come in, I feel for him because that dude is nasty. Obviously, last year's AL Cy Young Award winner. Seattle signs him in the offseason. Great signing to pair. Then you go get Luis Castillo. I think there's a lot of questions there with what Scott Service did. I don't hate it. I mean, you're going with what you think is the best. It's Yordan Alvarez. Here's the thing. That dude is David Ortiz reincarnated. That's all there is to it.
The one thing you can say is Paul Sewald needed to do his job before Yordan got up. I was at the grocery store at Aldi yesterday while that game was going on, so I didn't see it. But I was listening to the Seattle broadcast on the MLB app because we have the MLB TV or whatever it's called. And they said just whatever you do not let Yordan Alvarez get to the plate this inning. And then you walk and you hit a guy and it's like, well, and then you get the base hit and it's like, okay, well, this is what you did. And I know that you're going to say Yordan was 0 for 7 with 3 Ks, I believe, against Paul Sewald. So you might just leave him in there. But you cannot let that guy get up in that situation. You just can't.
No.
There are some guys that just shine brighter under the lights, and Yordan Alvarez is one of those guys.
That's a really good, once again, good journalism, too. Also, shout out to you for saying Aldi instead of Aldi's. Nice job.
Thank you.
Yep.
It saved me so much money that I feel like I earned it.
Yes, they're the best. Literally the best. Can't see their price.
I saw grapes for $1.50 yesterday and about passed out and fell over.
I had a buddy once who told me it's the one place he goes and he doesn't even look at prices. He just puts things in his cart and it's almost the same price no matter what you get every time.
No, I spend like 20 between, like, we split it, so I spend like $20 a week on groceries.
Yeah, it's the best.
20,
and their shit's good. Like, that's the other thing. You're not buying crap. Yeah.
The only thing that is expensive is chicken. Chicken's expensive everywhere, I think.
Well, it's expensive everywhere, right? Good transition. Again, that U of I journalism degree paying off well. As you talk about the stars shining brightly at the biggest moments, ours did not, and that is why we are watching, trying to decide whom to root for instead of right now being glued to the TV as the Cardinals would be playing in Atlanta at Truist Park.
Yeah, it really sucks. I feel for him. I really feel for Nolan and Goldie because you know how bad they want it. Like, that's never been a question for me. I know we had that whole vaccination situation. I don't want to get back into that. But for me, it's never been a question of how badly those two want to not only win a ring and win in general, but to bring one to St. Louis. I feel like that is important to both of those players to bring them back here. It seems like they both love it here. And I'm going to share something with you. I like to read the Post-Dispatch. They have chats. Gould and Ben Fred both do it where there's like Q&As and they answer questions. And this was a question about Nolan and Goldie, just how they didn't produce and kind of obviously, bashing them and saying that they didn't want it more or whatever it was. And Ben Fred, who was in the clubhouse, I assume, his response was Nolan Arenado was crying in the clubhouse. Paul Goldschmidt looked like he was physically ill. I promise they don't need to have it explained to them that they let the team and the city down. And I almost cried after reading that. Like, you do when you have two guys like that, they're like superhumans to people that watch them every day just because they mean so much. And you just know how badly they want it. And your heart kind of breaks for both of them that they just, how good they are. And you know that they can come through in those moments, but that they didn't. And that they have to sit with this for 5 months. And I doubt they're watching these games, to be honest with you. They probably don't want to, but
I hope they're not. Like, to be honest, I hope not. Look, we were there on Friday. for the, I guess what we would call the Midwest mayhem debacle. I don't know what you want to call it. Never heard that place louder than when you have to hit the home run. Again, almost killed my wife. Like I literally almost trampled her because I slipped on peanuts as I was trying to give you two high fives and everybody else high fives as soda was being spilled and beer. The place was erupting. It was incredible. And then with what seemed like in the matter of seconds, it was all just yanked away from us. And I said to you, and I know you got kind of angry with me, but that's okay. That like when we woke up Saturday morning, I had zero expectations Saturday. And it was just because one day game going into night game, I think it would have been way better if we played a night game on Friday and he turned right back around and played 11 a.m. on Saturday. But that's irrelevant. I just had this feeling that once that happened with your stud closer on the mound and a fluky injury, Nolan hit a ball. We were standing right there that I thought was gone, if not off the wall early in the game. It was caught. It felt like one of those days where it just wasn't going to happen. And then all of a sudden, you see your three best infielders not come up with the big plays, zero errors given, whatever, irrelevant. But that, and then
Goldie's wasn't an error, it was a fielder's choice.
Right, that's fair. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying Tommy's was an error either. Like, out of position potentially, I would have had him back. That's just me. Hindsight's undefeated, whatever. But the point was, it just happened so fast. It spiraled out of control. We walked out of there like nobody knew what had happened. Like, it was that fast.
It wasn't even really anger for me. It was just like, you were shell shocked. Honestly, that had just happened. The ball that Nolan hit, by the way, it was 75% of the balls hit at that launch angle and that exit velo. I believe he hit it 103 point something miles per hour. Were home runs this season. So it should have been a home run. The ball, it was just the error.
He said he thought it was gone. He said he thought it was a home run.
You know when he does that thing when he hits a ball and he kind of like gallops a little bit and you know, okay, he got it. He did that when he hit it. It just didn't go out. Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's hard to even recap what happened because it happened so quickly. But I think you're looking back on it and you look at the Braves, you look at the Astros, even the Mariners. I guess you can put them in there. I don't think that they built a team that was good enough to win in October.
Yeah. Oh, I agree, and I think that's something that we're going to hit on. Here's the thing: like I've been spending a lot of time on Twitter the last couple of days, just kind of reading things and just trying to get the gauge. And so many people like just drive you crazy, but that's irrelevant. A lot of the thoughts are we should go spend a lot of money on Carlos Rodon. I'm not arguing. Like I love Carlos Rodon. He's only 28, 29. I think he'd be a great fit here.
He might be older
when
than that.
You have, huh?
He might be in his 30s. I
don't think so. I think he's late 20s. If I looked right, I could be wrong.
He turns 30 in December.
Okay, so 29. That's what I thought. I'm not saying that's a wrong take. It wasn't starting pitching though that cost us these two games.
It hasn't been for years.
Right. Q was incredible, and we could talk and we can spend a lot of time if you want. I don't think we need to revisit. I would have left him in. I understand why they didn't. I completely get it. The third time through the lineup, Hoskins, Real Muto. I understand it. I don't necessarily always think analytics are great because for every stat, there's an opposite stat that shows you the other way. I thought he neutralized the entire lineup incredibly well. He seemed to have every pitch working. Defense was working well. You can question the only thing I think I questioned that whole day, and I've said this steadfast. I don't think I tried to go to get Ryan Helsley 5 outs. It didn't work. Like that's all there is to it. It didn't work. He's been the best closer in baseball, and it didn't work. That's all you can say.
Yeah, it's just and that whole situation is getting really weird. They've been talking about it. And it sounds like Helsley may have not even been hurt, to be honest. Like that's kind of like they talked to Ollie about it on the show the next day. And he said he wasn't hurt. Like he just wasn't controlling his pitches and he had no feel for the ball. So I don't know. There's conflicting things on that. What I'll say about the Quintana situation, I get it if you want to leave him in. There's already been some games in this postseason where you've seen what a third time through the order can look like. And the Phillies are not a lineup that you want to go third time through because of how powerful they are. They can get you in a second, any of those guys. So that's my one take. And also, I think Ollie's game plan, and it's not just his, by the way. So Ollie and the front office and the analytical people and Mike Maddox, all of their game plan, because they all combine in the postseason, everyone's together in their game plans. It was working to a T. And the part that you probably felt the most confident about working didn't work. And that's all you can say. That's Ryan Helsley. That's the guy you penciled in and said, I'm assuming they said if Gio can roll through 5 outs, then let's let him do that. And we have Helsley available for 4 of the 5 outs. And that's probably the part they said if we can get that to him, the game's over. And it wasn't. Didn't work.
Yep. Yeah, 2 outs and a fluke single, and then the next thing you know, it spiraled out of control. Now, here's the thing. Then you go game 2. Miles comes out, and I thought threw also a very good game. Gave
Did
up
his
the
job.
home run to Harper early. Harper has had so far an incredible postseason. 5 for 10 coming in. He's already got a hit today. Again, I'll say it, and I said it, and I know I feel bad for Nolan and Goldie. I love those guys. Like, don't get me wrong, I love them. But to win, you have to have your stars be stars in the postseason. We saw Alvarez last night with the home run. We've seen what Harper's done. We saw Machado, another home run tonight. We saw what he did in the New York series.
What a season Manny Machado's had, by the way. We need to talk about him later. Because that guy, he should get some serious consideration for every award possible.
Remember when I said, and you said no, I said, hey, shouldn't he be considered?
And then I changed it after I looked at his stats closer. But he is just.
What are you looking at? Do you have an alien to your?
The game's up over there.
We're right here.
I know, but I couldn't find a spot to where I could do both where it's not, you don't notice it.
Anyway, so that, and I'll say it, like you had, and I said this going into the series, so this was foresight, not hindsight. If Nolan, Goldie, and Pujols don't shine in the Philly series and every series past, and it didn't matter. Nolan and Goldie won for 15 with 5 strikeouts. That just doesn't get done, and I understand they're upset, and I would be too. But and I know Nolan hit a bunch of balls hard. I understand all that. Bone makes a great play at third, but Paul Goldschmidt was MIA. That just can't happen. Like, if you want to be an MVP guy, and I still think he wins the MVP, but you have to perform in the postseason. And I've seen a lot of people say, like, maybe we should wait till postseason awards are over, till the postseason's over to vote for awards. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I do understand it, because what Manny Machado is doing right now is way different than what Paul Goldschmidt did right now.
Well, there's postseason MVP awards, so I don't agree with that.
I get it. I'm not saying I agree either.
Mike Trout or Ohtani MVP awards because they don't have the postseason.
Like I said, I get it.
I have I've been thinking about this a lot since it ended, because I have nothing else to do but think about how we could prevent this from happening next year. Again, I think Paul Goldschmidt's not young, right? He's going to be turning 36 this year. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
36. He's about to turn 35. It looks like
35. Yeah,
he just turned 35. Maybe you don't let Goldschmidt play 150 something games next year.
Right.
Maybe you say he had a wall in September, and the rest of the year he had a wall. Maybe you say, Goldie, you get 142 games this year. And you're going to play a lot of games against the Reds, against the Pirates, this year you're going to get games against the Royals, the Tigers, teams that are not very good, the Nationals. The A's. Set him out once every one of those series. The guy is not getting younger. You gotta rest him. I think he hit a wall. I do. At least I know. I don't know. I don't think a rest day for Goldie is making him DH. He's not young anymore. He's 35 years old. I think letting these guys, I get that they're workhorses. They want to be in the lineup every day, and they're praised for that. But a 35-year-old maybe shouldn't play 151 games. And then to the point to where it would be way more than that if they didn't clinch the division so early. But then you're taking a bat away from him when he's trying to get right for the postseason. So I think that's something they need to look at next year with him and Nolan, to maybe give them some days off. They have enough depth. I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I would imagine that wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I don't know either. And also the other thing is, now the National League has the designated hitter. Like, you can almost give them even more days off than that by just letting them hit. And I know people are like, well, you're still working. I get it, but it's not the taxing on your body of being in the field, running in and out every half inning. You just have to go up and hit 4 times. So maybe that 142 games could go down almost to 130, where you DH 12 of those. Then you're off to 20, if that makes sense. Like, I can see that for sure.
That's one of the things as well why I'm not really in the pack of go sign a full-time DH, because I don't think that lets you take advantage of that spot as much as you like to. Like Willson Contreras, we'll get to him probably a little bit later. But if you were to go sign him, he normally starts about, like this year he started 20-ish games at the DH spot, maybe more than that. You can use that to your advantage and give guys some more days off. And I get Nolan and Goldie, the parts of their game that the reason they're such valuable players is they're great on both sides of the ball. I understand that. But you got to get those guys have to be fresh for October. That's the bottom line. They have to be right, and you have to find a way to get those guys hitting in October. Because I don't think it's a can't do it in the postseason thing for them. I don't. I think this year is a very poor timing for when the postseason came. Because if the postseason was at the end of August, I don't think they would have gone over. I think they would have gone off,
Yeah.
probably.
When you look at Goldie's last 10 games in the postseason here, 5 for 43, that's concerning. I mean, I'm sorry. And I know, and here's the thing, the last few years, we've been playing meaningful baseball up until the end. So it's not like there was this low. That is a massive concern. And if you look at Nolan when he's been here, also in his, and again, we're talking 3 games. So again, small sample size, one for what was it? 1 for 13. That's not going to cut it.
I will say there's some caveats to that. Goldie was great in the NLDS in 2019, right? He was really good
against the Braves.
2020, that pitching staff shut everybody. I mean, sorry, the NLCS, that pitching staff shut everybody down. 2020 was weird, and then he's gotten 3 games the last 2 years. So yeah, those numbers, I get it, but there are some things you could say that maybe counter. Like Goldie's not a guy that gets, I don't think, super jazzed up. It doesn't seem like. So it wouldn't really make much sense for him to be a guy that's terrible in the postseason. And you saw with Clayton Kershaw, that narrative's there until it isn't, until he went out there and shoved to a World Series. So
that's where I'm going with Goldie. That narrative is there, and it's got to stay there. I'm sorry, it is a results-oriented business, and that light never gets brighter than come the playoffs. And you can have as many great regular seasons as you want, but if you fail in the postseason, that's what a lot of people. I'm not saying your whole career is judged on that, but that is. Matt Holliday is one of those guys. We can talk about that. And Holliday had a couple good series here, but he also had a lot of series where he completely disappeared, and it cost us moving on in the postseason. So again, Matt Holliday, Cardinals Hall of Famer. Goldie's going to be a Cardinals Hall of Famer. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing the greatness of Paul Goldschmidt. I am saying that it's been a long time since our stars have shown up on the biggest stage, and that's got to happen. And I saw Ben Fred's column about how it's either Jeff Albert or it's the hitters. I don't necessarily agree with that, although I do sort of agree with the fact that, it is the offense. I think what we got out of a lot of guys this year was better than what any of you or I or a lot of people could have expected. But if you're looking, just look at the lineups left. The Phillies, the Dodgers, Padres, obviously without Tatis, I get it. But and the Braves, our lineups do not match up with them 1 through 9. They
line up to the Padres, but the other ones, yeah, I agree.
Right, agree.
I would say, well, I don't know. I think you can. Here's the thing that I think I've been thinking about a lot lately is you look at our lineup. Yeah, we are top 5 to 10 in most categories offensively, but you look at how we got there. We got there from hot stretches from Gorman, hot stretches from Yepes, hot stretches from Donovan, from Nootbaar, from Kisner, even at times, who got hot at times. I mean, there were stretches of baseball where these guys were producing, and then you look at it. Gorman tailed off. Yepes got hurt. Donovan eventually cooled off in the postseason. He was not good. Nootbaar was not the same guy. So, yeah, we had a good offense, but there's also, you look at it, where was the consistency? There were 2 guys who were consistently good the whole year.
Well, Albert, one of the best hitters in baseball. Albert, one of the best hitters in baseball since the All-Star break.
Yeah, but he was horrible the first half.
Yeah,
so there were 2 guys that were consistent the entire year. Everyone else was not consistent. It was a flip of the coin.
And then those 2 disappeared when we needed them the most.
Yeah, I mean, because they're probably exhausted mentally and physically. But also, here's the thing, and I think they need to get one more hitter, and I'm not including a catcher in this. That's a separate issue. You need to get Contreras, and I will not hear any excuses as to why you don't get him if he goes somewhere else. But you need to get another hitter other than him.
I agree.
You need to have it cannot be Goldie and Nolan have to do it, or we are done. It can't do it again. No. That's enough. And we were hoping Tyler Neal
just a couple things before we get to, because I do want to get to the offseason and some trades and some things that maybe we can look into and some ideas. You look at Pujols and you look at Goldie, and look, it sucks because the farewell tour was awesome. But I'm not going to lie if I don't say that I also believe the farewell tour was distracting to a lot of players. And it wasn't distracting to Albert because Albert went out and hit on this game 2. He had 2-3 hits game 2. But what I'm saying is I just feel like when you see it every night it's Yachty, Albert, Waino. Albert, 700. Yachty, Waino, 325. And that's all you're hearing. I feel like maybe the greater message of when a World Series got lost, and I don't think that's anybody to blame. I think that's human nature, to where you're watching these guys every night, and then next thing you know, it's the playoffs, and you're still watching them when we need you to perform. And I do believe that had something to do with it. I'm not going to ever forget the 2022 season, because what we saw for 162 games was magical with everybody. It really was. But again, the greater goal when you start day 1 of pitchers and catchers reporting is being the last team who wins, right, at the end.
Yeah.
And we haven't been there in 11 years. And I know, obviously, a lot of teams haven't. But I do believe that farewell tour was a little like anticlimactic at the end because it was over and it was like, oh, we have to start playing games that matter.
I don't know. I will say the one thing that was constantly said about the team by reporters and by Ollie is that he was impressed that these were not distractions. I agree. That they were not distractions, but they were it was coinciding with winning. So I don't know if that's true. I guess that's what everyone was saying, that at the end of every time there was a milestone, they said, well, don't forget this. I don't know. And I think it all comes down to
Let me just say I don't disagree that they're all saying it. That doesn't mean that you had a group of young guys first time in the big leagues and they're experiencing this massive thing with Albert and Yachty and Waino. And I'm not saying that wasn't talked about every night, but I do believe that when you're sitting back waiting for Albert to get to 700, then you see him get to 703, Waino and Yachty get to 328. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, we won the division. Oh, now we have to play meaningful baseball. I don't know that it's that easy to just flip it on. And we saw the Phillies playing meaningful baseball literally down to almost the end. And then they come in. Also, let's also not forget, we've only scored 4 runs in the last 3 games, but you also saw Max Scherzer, Zach Wheeler, and Aaron Nola. Like, we have to give those guys some cred because they were great. Zach Wheeler's dominating again tonight against the Braves.
When did we face Max Scherzer?
Last year against the Dodgers in the 1-game playoff.
You said last playoff.
The last 3. That's why I said that we scored 4 runs in the last 3 playoff games. Well, we faced Scherzer, Wheeler, Nola.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. But let's not act like those guys have 0 ERAs. You should be able to score a run off them.
I'm not saying that. I am saying
they faced Zach Wheeler 3 times this year and didn't score 1 run off him.
I know.
That's not acceptable. I don't care who it is. No. He's not Jesus. He's not winning a Cy Young.
Right.
He's not that's unacceptable. And I think the biggest thing for me, they were relying on too many young guys. They just were.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have a lineup where your leadoff hitter is a rookie, your 5 hitters a rookie, what was Yepes batting? 6 or 7? I don't know where he was batting. Wherever he was batting is a rookie. And then you get down and it seems like Dylan Carlson's fucking old.
Right.
Lineup. Like, he's been around for years. Like, you gotta have, I don't know. And then the veteran presence they decided to go get was Corey Dickerson. Look at the lineup they rolled out there in the last game. It's not good enough.
No,
it is not. And I don't know. I guess I brainwashed myself.
I'm sorry.
Into thinking that maybe it was. It's just not. It's not good enough.
And that's what I was saying. Like, if you look at again, discount the Padres if you'd like. Tatis is in there. It's different. But you look at the Dodgers, Phillies, and Braves. We don't even come close when you look at their top, especially their top 5. But you just look at the length of the lineup. We don't have it. And that's something they're going to have to address in the offseason. You and I have talked about it. Sorry. Sorry. This front office has a massive offseason here. Yachty and Pujols are gone. Waino, we'll get to Waino in a minute because I do want to talk about him. But with your offense, you have a lot of tradable commodities because you have a lot of people who aren't going to fulfill everyday roles on this team. You've got Nolan and Goldie. You've got Tommy at short. Outside of that, I think you have a lot of question marks on what you want to do.
I think second base, you don't trade out of those 2 at second base. You keep them both, and they compete to see who gets the job.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Gorman,
but what I'm saying is
2 really good options over there.
What I'm saying
I think
is
you got your infield figured out.
You've got a lot of guys, and you and I have talked about this, who are a lot alike. So in my opinion, Nolan Gorman's my second baseman next year. Like, that's just it. And if you need to move Donnie around and you need to do something, but I want to see Nolan Gorman get a shot more so than even Paul DeYoung got, because we gave him 48 leashes. Let's give Nolan Gorman one of those leashes, and let's let him go into spring training knowing that he's your everyday guy, whether he's playing second or he's DHing. He's going to be in the lineup 7 out of 8 days, 7 out of 9 days, and let's see what he can do. And at least give him, if nothing else, 250, 300 at-bats early on to see, because we don't know. He came up, he had a great stretch, he got cold, and they buried his ass on the bench. And then they sent him to Memphis, and then they want to know why he wasn't hitting in Memphis. Then they call him up, they give him 1 at-bat in the postseason, and he gets a hit. Like, let's see what we have with him, because I love Brendan Donovan, and I think he still has a massive role in this team, but the upside isn't even close when we're talking ceilings of Nolan Gorman versus Brendan Donovan.
And I don't think there should be the same player on this team. Nolan Gorman should be your everyday second baseman. And we just talked about wanting some of our guys to get days off their feet DHing. Guess who can play any position on the field?
Agreed.
Brendan Donovan.
I
So
agree.
you don't have to worry about finding spots for Brendan Donovan. You just don't. You will have places to play him. I mean, you're gonna have injuries throughout the 162. He can play in those stretches. That he should be your utility guy. I mean, that's a great weapon to have. If you want to DH
Absolutely.
him, and
Kind
if
of
you
what
want to DH
Tommy
him,
did. Kind of what Tommy did
right.
for a few
And if you
years.
like Donna, and if you want to DH him sometimes, go for it. Like he's a
Right.
great hitter. But he should, and yes, he should be in your lineup at least 4 times a week next year, probably. But you shouldn't. But you have. I mean, who would not want an infield right now coming in next year of Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, 2 of the best players in baseball. Tommy Edman, the best defensive player in baseball. I'll stand by that until the day I die. And then Nolan Gorman, who has the upside of, I mean, he's literally could be Brandon Lau for you. And that's a guy
Right.
you've been needing for a long time. So the questions you land to, I think, and I think those questions answer themselves. The outfield and catcher, they're going to get somebody, I believe. And for you guys worried about Contreras and him DHing sometimes, I have no problem with that, letting Andrew Kisner get 60 starts a
Agreed.
year. I have no problem with that.
Agreed.
So, and by the way, Kisner, great hitter in the minor leagues. Go look at his stats. Let Kisner and Contreras be the guys there. Contreras obviously getting the first guy, but if he needs some days off to DH, then Kisner can catch. I have no problem with that. The outfield's where you have the questions. You got to decide if you want DC to be your everyday center fielder, and if you don't, you got to trade him because he's going to have some value. He cannot be a platoon guy. He just can't. He has to be your everyday center fielder.
I agree.
And you've got to find someone. I don't know who it is. They can figure out how he can hit left-handed better and to get some muscle on that guy. For God's sake, the guy was like his power grade in the minor leagues was incredible, and it's just gone. Why? Why is it gone? Can someone explain?
I don't know. I don't know, but what I do know is this: like I watched this year, and I'm not saying that I don't understand it, but we've done this in the past with guys like Wong and Grichuk and Pham, and we've seen it. First of all, next year, like I said, I want DC in center field. I want Gorman at second base, and I want Juan Yepes as my everyday DH, unless there's a really tough righty and you want to give Nolan Gorman the DH spot and you put Brendan, whatever that is. But let's let those 2 guys have proven both above league average and OPS, above league average and OPS plus. That's your future. Those are the guys. So put these, and then you got to make decisions on Nootbaar. You got to make a decision on Tyler O'Neill. You need to bring in another corner outfielder who is a middle of the order bat, in my opinion, top to middle, that can play every day. You have to. This lineup is not deep enough, and it's not going to be. We had Albert Pujols hitting second in the playoffs. Like, that can't happen next year. You can't bring in Corey Dickerson again. You can't bring in somebody like him again. You have to let Gorman. You can't just keep platooning Gorman and Carlson with these young guys and expect them to produce. They're used to playing every day.
So I guess I have a question for you. What if Jordan Walker comes up at the beginning of the year and breaks in spring? What do you do? What do you do if you want Carlson and okay, say you have Carlson in center field. I think he's a lock to be starting at the beginning of the year. I think Jordan Walker is going to make a push, and if they decide to put him on the roster and he's in right field or left field, I don't care. You got 2 guys. What do you do with Nootbaar and O'Neill? And my second point would be you have to decide that before the season, before spring training. Like if you think Jordan Walker has hold on one second, sorry. If you think Jordan Walker has a legitimate chance to make the team out of spring, because they'll know that before they go in, that if he does certain things, he'll have a chance. Then you've got to trade those guys and one of those guys in the offseason and get some value back for him. You just do.
Yep. Well, by the way, as of 2 days ago, Jordan Walker was dominating the Arizona Fall Leaf. I didn't see what he did yesterday or today, but here's the thing with Walker. Yes, I don't understand the apprehension. Look at what Michael Harris and Vaughn Grissom did for the Braves this year. Look at what we've seen Juan Soto do in the past. Bryce Harper done in the past. We've seen guys come up at young ages and have a lot of success. Jordan Walker's dominated every level. I don't see AAA being any different. Does he really need AAA at bats? AA way harder than AAA as far as the pitching goes, because that's where all the prospects go, and it's also where you never know if you're getting strikes or not. So, yeah, I agree. I think you have to give him a shot. It's going to sound outlandish. I understand it. I am on the do whatever you can to get Mike Trout here next year. And I know that sounds crazy. I get it. But here's the thing. The Angels are going to have a new ownership. They're going to have – Ohtani's gone. There's zero reason. Mike Trout wants to win. There's zero reason to restructure for him to restructure.
Has he ever said he wants to win?
Okay, hold on. Let me finish. There's zero reason for him to restructure his deal. Look, we have seen Mo pull off the Goldie trade, the Nolan trade. We've seen him pull off trades with superstars in the past. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I am going to say that it wouldn't surprise me. And we have been linked to this. This isn't just me. There's other people out there saying the Cardinals are linked to Mike Trout. And that just seems to make a lot of sense the next year. And maybe that is where you deal O'Neal and you deal Newbar, and maybe there's Herrera. You have pieces to deal.
Here's my
For Mike
question.
Trout.
If it comes, and this is going to sound crazy because it's Mike Trout, but stay with me here because he's 31 years old and has back problems. Okay, so let's throw that out there because that is true. Would you deal Jordan Walker for Mike Trout?
Okay, I was gonna tweet about this. I think Walker's the one guy right now I'm not dealing.
I wouldn't.
So,
I wouldn't do
yeah,
it. Even if it was
I agree.
up, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and that sounds so outlandish to say,
It
but
does,
I
and it
think
puts a lot of pressure
outside
on
of
him.
that, I think outside of him, Goldie, Nolan, everybody else in our offense is
I'm
available.
not trading Gorman either.
Yeah, okay, I get that. But then, okay, here's the thing, okay, and here's what I'll say. I agree with you, but then play him every fucking day next year. Let's not jack around with this guy. Put him in the lineup. We did this to Colton. We did, like I said, Gritchick. We saw this where they had to worry about if they were in the lineup or not, and if they went out and were 0 for 4 against a tough pitcher, they might either be on the bench or be sent to Memphis. You can't win that way.
Well, let's be fair. They gave Gorman
hold on,
a lot of
let me finish.
opportunities.
Hold on, let me finish. Vaughn Grissom comes up. You have Arcia there. They put Grissom in the lineup every day. And even if he had 2 0 for 4s, he was in the lineup on the third night. You have to be able to do that with young guys.
I mean, they benched Vaughn Grissom the last 3 weeks of the season.
But what I'm saying, no, he was up for a while.
He's still there. They benched him.
I understand it now, but that's because you had guys coming back. Rosario came back. You had guys who came back. My point is, you still gave him the opportunity. Michael Harris, guy they pulled up from Double-A, just like Jordan Walker, like we're talking about. Put him in there. He's played every day. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. He was hitting third the other night for the Braves in that lineup. Or he can hit ninth. Like, you can put him anywhere in that lineup. The Cardinals have to. If you could tell me that you could come into and again, I go back to Trout, it could be someone else. And I love Tyler. Everybody knows my love for Tyler O'Neill. And if he were healthy, I would say, great. How do you know if he's ever going to be healthy? But if you got Carlson in center, Walker in right, we talked about the infield. You've got Yepes, they're DHing, and you can add a left fielder who can play every day. That lineup
you're
becomes,
like afraid to say his name because of how crazy it sounds.
I do.
And you got Mike Trout in left field. Like, yeah, it's Mike Trout.
Imagine Trout, Carlson, Walker, Nolan, Tommy, Gorman, Goldie, Contreras, because you've got money to do both. And then you've got
That's a lot of money. There's a lot of money. I'll be fair.
It is, but you can't tell me quit watching the game.
The Braves are up 3-0.
I know, I saw. You can't tell me that they don't have the money. You also can't tell me that they don't look, if either we want to win and we want to do something, or we want to just get in.
Well, you're talking about like a $220 million payroll if you do those two things.
Well, how much you're losing a lot of money.
Not that
payroll.
Here's the thing that I'll say. I think the only way they go for Mike Trout. Okay, I'll say two things. One, if Mike Trout's available, they're going to be involved. We know that. They just will. Yep. Two, I don't know if they go get Mike Trout unless Nolan Arenado leaves.
He's not leaving.
No, he's not. I don't think so either. Also, they're going to restructure that contract. I hope they find a way, and I think this is why Nolan hasn't announced opting out or opting in. I think let's get to that right now because that is rather a big topic. He had some comments. Yes, he said loved. It doesn't mean anything. He was speaking about a season that had just ended. The dude had just gotten done crying, as I explained earlier. And there was something else that I wanted to say. He also said they hope they figure it out. He loves it here. He loves the guys here. He doesn't want to leave. He was there. Jeff Jones tweeted from the clubhouse that he was making plans with Lars Nootbaar and guys in the clubhouse for what they're going to do in Jupiter next year. Right. He's not leaving. That's not a guy that's leaving. That's not LeBron making an HBO show to say that he's leaving.
It was ESPN.
I thought it was an HBO.
No, the decision was on ESPN.
I was so young, whatever.
Yeah.
But I hope they can find a way to restructure the contract without it impacting the amount of money the Rockies have to give to the Cardinals next season. Because next season, the way the contract's written up right now, the Rockies are paying $35 million, all of Nolan Arenado's contract for next year. Now, if that meant that they could say, "Hey, Nolan, we need that money because we want to go spend it on X player for next year," we will add another opt-out into your contract after this year, and we will restructure it then if you promise that we can do that. That's one thing I think they could do. But another thing, I don't know how it works to where if they completely restructured the deal to say you give them another 2 years and bump up the AAV on the contract, I don't know if that Rockies money still comes in. I do not know how that works.
I don't either. I don't know all that either. And honestly, they can figure that out. But like I said, you just got 2 home playoff games where we were there. We saw how much money they were bringing in. You've got Ballpark Village. You had over 3 million fans. Again, you're second in attendance this year in the MLB. In MLB
behind LA, who has the biggest stadium in baseball.
You're losing Yachty, you're losing Waino, you're losing some other guys off the books. If you make the right trades, honestly, Caleb, I'm gonna be honest. There's zero reason this team shouldn't have a $200 million payroll. There just isn't.
Well, that's true. I agree with that.
Like it's honestly at this point, and you and I said it, and we said it on here. This is a massive offseason for Mo and the boys. Like last year, you brought in Drew Verhagen, bomb. You brought in Nick Whitgren, bomb. Corey Dickerson had a nice little run. Starting for you at the end of the year was absolutely not good. He did have 2 hits on Saturday. That was awesome. But again, for the most part, he didn't give you your money's worth. You brought in Steven Matz, zero return on dollar there.
Well, pending.
I get it, but I'm saying for this year. I'm only talking about this year. Pujols, massive success, stunning, massive success. And then you brought in Brooks, gone, DFA'd very early.
Well, he was a minor league contract.
I get it, but what I'm saying is those are still guys we went out and we signed, and for the most part, every one of them, outside of Pujols, could have probably been DFA'd, and not that they were going to. I'm just saying that was the type of offseason we had.
And you brought back Yachty and Waino.
Correct.
So here's my one thing. Let's get to Albert. What do you make? 2.5 million is what he signed for, right? I'm going to assume they made at least $200 million off of Albert Pujols last year. And I mean at least. That's minimum. It might have been closer to a bill. I'm not even kidding. But if you take into account everything with the parking garages they own, with Ballpark Village, with jerseys, with ticket sales, beers from the people that are there. Because when you go see Albert hit home run number 698, you're feeling happy and you're going to spend some money.
Yes. I mean, everybody saw the stadiums down the stretch, right? From the middle of August on, everybody saw that the stadiums were packed every night.
From whenever that Brewer series we went to on, it was insanity at Busch Stadium every single night. It didn't matter what day of the week it was.
No.
It didn't matter who they were playing. Do you think, and I know that Mo and DeWitt are close. I'm aware of this. Do you think the fact that Mozeliak's contract comes up after this year plays any role into him maybe being more aggressive?
It could. I honestly, dude, I'd love to look in and read those tea leaves. I don't know. I would like to think that the answer is yes. But and the other thing is here, one thing that we haven't pointed out is next year you're not going to play the Pirates, Reds, Cubs, Brewers 76 times, right? You're playing a balanced schedule. I know we talk about you will get the A's and you will get some. I get it, but you're also going to get teams that you haven't, like the Astros. You're going to get the Mariners. You're going to get the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Rays. I know we had them this year, but you're going to get the Guard. You're going to get also really good.
You're getting everybody,
and you're going to get more of it from some of the other teams. So the idea that just win the Central, like we saw that this year. We win the Central, we have to play the wild card round. And we get bounced in our own home, court, our home state. Like they're going to have to be diligent. Now we've talked a lot about the offense, right? Lars, let's talk about Lars just for a minute because obviously great year. What do you do with him? What do you see him? Is he a starter next year? Is he a bench guy? Is he a trade pick? I mean, I think I know where you're standing on this.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the first year in a long time in Cardinal baseball where I have zero fucking idea what I would do.
Yeah.
No idea. They're almost in too good of a situation with how many players they have that it could end up going bad.
Yeah.
One, they could make some trades and say we have an abundance of players. It's crazy to me they have an abundance of outfielders, but yet none of them have been good. But except for Lars. But you could they could go trade and make some big trades, and then it backfires because you trade the wrong guys. They could make no trades and then it backfires because none of them are good. Or I don't know what you do. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can honestly say Tyler was never Tyler. It did feel like he came into the season after whatever. He got married in the off season, but it felt like he came into the season, and I still believe that arbitration it wears on some guys, and I don't know if it did
in the off season, or am I off on that?
Do what?
Didn't he hire Scott Boras?
That I don't know, dude.
He did. He hired Scott Boras immediately after he started going crazy.
So and then you have the multiple injuries, but that's something they're going to have to address. Like, where do you risk the injuries with him? And again, I'll go back to why was he playing center field every day when we know that he has bad legs? Like that's bad. I love Ali. That's bad coaching. I'm sorry. Put
Don't act
Larson.
like that's his decision.
Okay,
He's not
well,
the only one that makes those decisions.
well then it's bad. Whatever, right? Like
It's
it's bad management.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
At the end of the day, I mean, John Mozeliak's the president of baseball operations. He has a hand in everything.
I
So
get
I
it.
think everything
So
goes back up
what
to
I'm
him.
saying is, whomever made the decision,
It
it's
was dumb.
bad.
I never understood it in the
Yeah,
first place. Lars can
it
play
doesn't
fine
make
center
sense.
field. That's what you want to do. He never got to get going. That's fair. Like you look at the Boston series, he went absolute nut job that series, then got hurt. He came back again, was good, got hurt. Had a
Yep.
huge moment in Atlanta, then was great in the Red Series, and kind of fell off a little bit, then got hurt. I don't know what you do with him.
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
I don't
I
know.
also
I
I don't know
wouldn't
what
be
his trade
opposed to
value
it.
is. I don't know what his trade.
It's high
He's
if you look at the right
27
people.
with injuries. Like he's had one great year. I don't know. Maybe we overvalue him. Like I feel like as Cardinal fans, that's any fans, you overvalue your guys probably more. It's like fantasy baseball. Oh, my guy's better. But
That's why trades
I don't know. But I got to believe that there's got to be value somewhere. I'm not saying. By the way, let me make it clear. I'm not advocating for trading him right now. But I am saying I think that he has to be on the block.
All I know is one, they need to make the decisions on who they want to be a part of the team moving forward. If that's Lars Nootbaar, I'm not even opposed to it. Like that guy, he's
Me
about as
neither.
projectable as a hitter as you can have. And I'm sure a lot of teams would be very interested in trying to bring him in if you tried to trade him. They just gotta make a decision. You can't
Yeah.
have any more of this. We are gonna have 8 guys in the outfield that have a chance to earn a spot. One, that's not good for the players that like Dylan Carlson who keep getting taken out of the lineup and can't perform every day. And two, it's not good because you have other spots you might be needing to fill. So you've got to decide what you want to do. And if a player like Mike Trout becomes available, you got to just go for it at that point. Like
I
you just got to
agree.
say you've
I
got to go
agree.
for it and try and get that guy in your uniform if you can. Now I don't know if he's going to become available. I don't know. The question the Angels are going to have to ask is our organization worth more with or without Mike Trout? What one is it?
Right.
And whatever that decision comes down to is what they're going to do before they sell it. I don't
Absolutely.
know. I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly, the only thing I know for sure is Willson Contreras should be a Cardinal. Everything else, I
Yeah.
don't know. I could talk my
I
way
feel like
into
I should agree with that. And let's get to, I guess, the big news of today. Adam Wainwright drops a series of tweets. By the way, very classy as Adam Wainwright does. We are massive Adam Wainwright fans, and I want to get a little bit deeper into this. I'm going to have to go too deep, but essentially saying taking blame for kind of how the season ended. Which, by the way, how classy of a fucking move is that from Adam Wainwright? Nobody's shocked by that. But also, I do have a question, and I think a lot of people are questioning this. Like, okay, you're looking at a video and you realize like a foot is it's a foot.
Yeah, but
How does Mike Maddox not pick up that? How
I
does
think that's what I
like
was gonna
here's the
say.
thing. Hold on, let me finish. Then I'll ask my question. We have seen throughout the years here with Wayno, with Jack, with Dak, with Miles, they catch everything. Like I'm talking about the smallest of things. I feel like if something's off, they've caught it within days. How does a pitching coach? We're not talking about, oh, hey, my landing spot was off an inch and a half, a foot. Like, and he notices it now. You could question why didn't he? And he said, should have watched more video to where I would have caught it. But why is our pitching coach not catching that? I think that's a valid question.
I think he inadvertently threw Mike Maddox under the bus without knowing.
I agree with you. I agree with that one.
And
I don't
maybe
think
he did know
to.
it. Maybe he did know it. I don't know. I have no idea what their
Yeah.
relationship's like. What I do know is someone should have caught it.
Mm-hmm.
A foot is. I mean, I don't know what his stride is. Probably something like. Isn't it a stride? I mean, it's
he's
over 10 feet,
6'7",
right? Over
so it's
10
got to
feet.
be huge.
I mean, he gets all the way down the mat. Like he's off the ground basically when he's throwing the ball. I don't know. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how Wainwright can't feel it. I know I was never a pitcher. You know, I did pitch every once in a while, and I know when I did pitch, I could see where my cleat was landing. So I could see in the ground if I was landing short, I could see where I was supposed to be landing from the ones that I threw well. So how does he not do that? I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
Well, he did
But
say the injury to the knee, like the comebacker
yes, I get it.
changed
But
it.
Mike Maddox
And I
should know
understand
everything about
that.
his pitchers. That's his
Right.
only job.
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to, and I always bring it up because it was one of the most like incredible things you and I have seen. We go to a Mizzou game with Kyle McClellan, former Cardinal pitcher. You know, he's sitting right there next to us, and we're talking the game and everything else. And literally within about 7 pitches and one warm up from the Mizzou pitcher, he picked up like 6 tells right off the bat. Oh, every time he throws his breaking ball, he's doing this with his glove. Oh, he's throwing a fastball. He was right every time the entire game. And that's why I'm saying, like, those guys in the dugout, they are so in tune with each other I'm shocked that nobody picked that
You know
up.
what's craziest to me as
wild.
well is look, one if you would think if he was doing that and still performing well, he would even pick up on the hey, you're landing short. The crazy thing to me is they had to have been looking at film for hours to try and figure out
That's
why he sucked,
what I
and they
thought.
didn't find it.
I know.
They didn't
I
have
know.
overlays like next to each other. Like, this is when you're good. This is when you're bad, and see it.
Because here's the thing, like I've seen like a lot of their videos, they should like when you watch them, they're like side by sides.
They're
so
overlaid.
Right. Like, yeah. So I don't know. But here, okay, so that leads to my bigger question. What if Caleb Noble put on another one of your hats? We're the GM of the Cardinals. Are you bringing Waino back for another year next year? Because it does sound like he wants to come back next year.
There's no way I would tell him no.
I know.
But I would say I'm giving you $5 million, and that's all I'm going to.
Okay, you're generous. I'd say 2.5, like I gave
Well,
Albert.
he got what, 18 last year?
Yeah, there's no way I'm giving him anywhere near that.
Well, that he's worth more than that.
I'm not arguing that, but here's okay. Let me say this. Okay, and I'll probably take heat for this, but actually, I've had some people agree with me who I've talked to today about it.
He had a good year.
He did. Hold on, let me finish. I love Adam Wainwright, and I want him back. What does make me a little nervous? Another farewell tour. I'm just going to be honest. Like it does make. What? Well, I'm not. This is, by the way. Let me clarify. This is not a shot at Waino.
No, I'm not saying.
Okay, I'm not doing that.
He won't want.
I'm just saying. And you and I've talked. I almost don't mind a fresh start.
Yeah.
With a whole new roster, like
Here's
to move on from that era. That era is dead. It's done. But let's also be honest. Would you be shocked if 40? How old's Waino right now? 41, 42, 40? I don't even know how old he is. But would you be shocked if next year Waino came out and was great? I wouldn't.
No, I would be more shocked if he wasn't.
Right. So that's where I'm at. Like, there's a part of me that says, let's move on and let's put this 2001 era to 2020, the last 22 years behind us with Albert, Yachty, Waino. But there's also a part of me that says, man, I hate the way Waino went out. If he can get his arm healthy, if he can get his knee healthy, if he can get his stride healthy. And also, by the way, one of the things you talked about down the stretch was going to a 6-man rotation. I'm not saying that's what you need to do next year, but give him more. Like, there was no reason to pitch him the last 2 weeks. There just wasn't, outside of nostalgia. There was no reason.
He's also, for Adam's sake, chasing 200 wins. He's 5 away. Ow.
Which I do think would be huge for him.
Yes, I do too. I don't know. Oh my God, Yu Darvish cannot hold a fucking lead. They just got it to 3-2. He gives up a homer immediately to Trey Turner. That guy's having a hell of a
Okay, I want to get to that. So hold on. We'll get to that later. So because I want to keep that in your mind. Braves and Astros coming back and Dodgers coming back. So I want to get to that, but go ahead.
Okay. What were we talking about? Oh,
Waino.
Okay. What if they trade Jack Flaherty in the offseason and then they bring back Waino?
No, can't.
Yeah, you can.
You can't.
You have to think about it.
Okay, here's the thing, Kay, and here's what I'll say. I know that Q was great. I get it. I do. I know that Miles was very good in game 2. Look at every other team in Major League Baseball right now. You have to have a legit number one. You can't. I know that the Braves won a World Series last year with literally Max Fried and Kyle Wright. I get it, and Ian Anderson. Like, I get it because Morton got hurt, but you had Morton getting you there. Like, you have to have a guy.
Max Fried's a number one.
Last year he wasn't. He was not.
Yes, he was. Look at his season.
He wasn't. And also, look at his postseason last year. Not good, by the way.
He threw 6 shutout innings in Game 6 of the World Series.
I'm telling you, look through his.
Hold on, ERA. Where's it at?
Look through his whole. Either way.
I find ERA.
Well, it should be right there. Either way, my point is very simple: that you have to have a guy at the top of the rotation. It's not Adam Wainwright. It's not Miles Michaelis. It's not Jordan Montgomery.
He was an ace last year. Yeah, 3.04 ERA.
How many starts though?
21.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, hold on. 28.
Okay. So he was better. But
great.
So you won it with one starting pitcher. That's what I'm saying. Like, you really won it with one starting pitcher.
I mean,
you got there because of Morton and the emergence of Kyle Wright. You had Ian Anderson, and you had. I'm just saying, you have to have somebody at the top of the rotation. You have to. And there's no way I'm dealing Jack Flaherty. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Here's the thing that I would say I would consider it. Just for the simple fact that if he doesn't want to be here, I don't know. I've heard Brad Thompson. I heard him talking on the Fast Lane today. He said that Jack Flaherty has never said to anyone that he doesn't want to be here, and
No,
that's just a narrative that's been spewed by people because
of
they assume he
course.
doesn't want to be there. I
Hold
don't
on,
know if
stop.
Jack.
Let me stop you for a
What?
second. That's a narrative spewed by people who don't want him here. That's what that is.
Maybe. And there has been some things that he said he doesn't love Bill DeWitt, and I don't either. I don't blame him.
No. Well, there's
Just
a
because of some
reason.
of this. Well, there's reason. There's stuff Bill DeWitt has put his money into that was very anti Jack Flaherty, if you know his opinion.
Correct.
So, but that's not really what I get into. What I will say is, I would go to Jack. Would you go to Jack Flaherty and offer him a contract extension?
Yes.
Okay, I think I would. I don't know how long I would, but I think I would consider
3 years.
He would turn it down. But okay, and then one more thing.
That's fine.
The reason you don't trade Jack Flaherty, and this is the biggest point I can make, I think, the teams that are going to want Jack Flaherty are competing because he has 1 year left, and they're going to want to give you people that aren't going to be helping them win, which means they're not going to be helping you win, which means you might as well just keep Jack Flaherty,
right,
and have him help you win.
That's and I say 3 years because I don't in today's day and age of baseball, I wouldn't give any pitcher more than 3 years. I just wouldn't. Like
it depends on who it is.
No. And here's the thing: everybody's gonna be talking about
years.
Verlander and DeGrom, not going after either one of those two guys. There's no way I'm investing that kind of money.
No.
When I have so much money, I'm not investing in those two. Carlos Rodon is very interesting. He's going to want 5 years. So are you going to want to sign Carlos Rodon to 5 years?
Want 5 years,
$30 million a year,
$10 million. Yeah,
he's going to get 5 years, $150 million. That's what he's going to get.
Whoever gives him that, good luck.
I'm just saying that's what he's good. Like he got 2 years, $44 million from the Giants. He's going to opt out after one, and he was better this year than he was the year before. So that's why I just don't think you can give up Flaherty. Now, if you re-sign Wainwright, you've got Matz coming back, you've got Monty, you've got Miles. What do you do with Dakota Hudson, and what do you do with Jose Quintana? Again, Caleb put on the GM hat. What are you doing with those two guys?
First thing I would do is I would offer Monty a fair, what I would believe would be a fair deal to extend to 2 or 3 years is what I would offer him. And if he turned it down, he would be traded, and I would bring back Quintana. And then I'm not kidding, and I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities because who would you rather have right now? I mean, honestly. And then Dakota Hudson, I don't care what you do with him.
Okay, let me say this. I think I tweeted to somebody about this earlier today. We were talking about it. I would tread very lightly with Jose Quintana. He was great this year. Don't get me wrong. He was great when he came here. But if you look, he hasn't had a sub-4 ERA since 2016. All right. So investing 3 to 4 years in Jose Quintana, which he's going to want 3. All right. That's what I'm
taking. Then I tell him to leave.
Agreed. That's where I'm at as well. And I love him. What he did this year was great. But also, let's not forget, J.A. Happ and John Lester were also good here last year. There was no need to give them 3 more years. No. So, and I know Quintana's only 31. I understand everything. What I'm saying is the track record of Jose Quintana would make me a little nervous if I were going to extend him. And I don't think I'm giving him 3 years. I just don't.
He's 33,
you just gave Steven Matz 4 years for no reason.
Quintana's going to be 34. Come on. Yeah, that deal sucks.
That's all I was wrong. I read his age wrong. Okay, I thought it was 31, but okay.
Because it really does hamstring you with what you're going to be able to do. I don't know. I would try to give Monty a 2-year extension if he would take it. And that's a number 3 that you can have for 3. He's a legit number 3 for you.
Yeah, because Miles is gone after next year, most likely. I don't see them re-upping him.
It depends on what he did. If he does the same thing he did next year, then yeah, you do. But you do.
I don't. Okay. See, this is where the Cardinals get hamstrung. Let's look at Matt Carpenter. Let's look at Paul DeYoung. Honestly, you can look at Miles Michaelis. Let's look at the contract. You've got to be careful with some of these guys. Like you have to play this smarter than with your emotions.
That is why I think you really need to. If Jack Flaherty goes out and dominates next year, you really got to throw some money at him. Just for the simple fact that I think you need to have someone that's not. The fact that Miles Michaelis is only 1 year older than Quintana is weird. That you cannot keep having 4s and 5s fill your rotation every year.
Agreed.
And the fact that they're signing these Steven Matz guys. No offense to Steven Matz, he's a solid pitcher that can do some good things for you. But we have 5 of him.
I agree.
It'll cost you $11 million a year.
And that's why, like I said, I would be very interested in Rodon. I just think he's going to set the market. Like he's the premier left-handed pitcher on the market. Right.
Also, let's not forget that guy has had massive injury problems in his past.
Right. Now he's been great his last 2 years. He's been great his 29. I'm just saying I wouldn't do it.
I mean, he had a dead arm for the last 2 months of his year last year with the White Sox.
Yeah. So that's just not a guy I go after. But
no. I don't get that.
I mean, I think honestly, your bullpen is pretty strong for next year. Like if you look at it, I mean, I don't see where you have to go out and add a
You
bullpen
don't.
arm. Right, I agree. So I think you're looking at if you bring Wayno back, which I believe they're going to. Like I think that after today, that's going to happen. I think there's room for another starter. My mind, it can't be a number 3, 4, or 5 guy.
There's not
But
room for another one
again,
if you bring Wayno back.
so here's my question, Kay. This is where I'm getting to. All right. You're not going to pay the DeGrom money, nor would I at 35 years old. I'm not. I'm not paying a 40-year-old Justin Verlander, 30. I don't know how old he is, almost 40-year-old Justin Verlander. Love him, Hall of Famer. DeGrom, Hall of Famer. I'm not paying those guys. Carlos Rodon, I think, is going to cost you. If you're going to do that, you're not getting Willson Contreras. That's what I would say, right?
They're not getting Carlos Rodon.
So are you looking at? Are you going to look at a trade? I mean, I know in the past you've talked Lucas Giolito.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. That's who I'd go for.
Okay.
And I think the White Sox are in a bad situation right now, where their guys are getting older. They're not, and honestly, the White Sox were good for 2 years. Their team, which was like supposed to be a budding team, it's dead. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. Abreu's going to be gone. That team is going to about to be gutted, and they're about to rebuild again.
Yeah, it does feel that way. What's wrong?
There an ad popped up on my thing. I was hearing music in the background, and I thought I was wondering what was happening. But anyway,
are you watching porn on the others, like on your other?
No, it was some commercial on.
Anyway, I agree. Like, but I think somebody like that.
That's a trade partner you might be able to find. Tyler O'Neill might be able to fit somewhere there, because I don't think they're re-signing Lucas Giolito. And also, how cool would it be to have Lucas Giolito and Jack Flaherty in the same rotation?
Is there somebody else? Is there somebody else out there that, off the top of your head, like the team that I think of, honestly, is Houston. Right? They have like 6 starting pitchers now.
They won't trade them. They know how valuable they are.
Well, Verlander's probably going to be gone, so that probably changes everything. But if you're looking at a McCullers or a, they have young guys on their way. But again, I'm just intrigued to see, like we've said, I think it's a massive offseason for the front. Like honestly, maybe generational changing offseason. That's probably hyperbole, but I don't know that it is, because here's the thing: we haven't won. Like we've won one series since 2013. One series. And that was against the Braves. That is.
That's no way.
2015, we lost to the Cubs.
2014, we lost to NLCS, didn't we?
13, we lost the NLCS to the
13, we went to the World Series.
14, I apologize. 14. That was the Ishikawa home run, wasn't it? Yes. Or was that 12?
That was 14. That's still hot.
Okay, so 14. My apologies. Since 14, right? You've won one series. There were 3 years in there where you didn't even make the playoffs. You have to. It's great having Goldie and Nolan, but you have to do something to improve the lineup. But also, here's the thing, and you said it: you have to have a 1-2 in your starting rotation. Like I love Miles; he was great this year. Don't get me wrong. I love Monty. I love Wayno. Quintana was awesome. Those guys in a top level team are not a 1 or a 2. That's what I'll say.
And here's the thing that I'll say to you: and this is nothing against Quintana, because he didn't give up a run, but Michaelis and those guys, they gave up the very few runs they gave up in the Philly series. If they didn't have Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, what would their conversations have been after losing the first 2 games?
Right.
It would have been our offense didn't do shit.
Yep.
But guess what? Their pitchers went out and shoved, and they got enough to win the games, so they won. So that's not a conversation in Philadelphia. So, yeah, our offense didn't do great. Their offense didn't do anything. The difference is they had guys that can limit you to 0 runs. We're saying Michaelis didn't have a bad start, but he gave up 2 runs. Aaron Nola didn't have a bad start. He gave up 0 runs. You got to have guys.
Quintana gave up 0. But again, I just think bullpen failed. I get nervous with falling in love with Jose Quintana. That's all I'll say. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think there's a chance they bring Jose Quintana back.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes any sense, to be honest. I will say I don't know.
We've got a few weeks left. Kind of move on from the Cardinals here. We've got a few weeks left of baseball, and I think just to get to the other first round games, you see I've transformed completely to the Mariners. Their loss yesterday, 100% on me. I went ahead and put 2 jerseys up for the Mariners because the Cardinals were dead. And I was like, well, all my eggs are in the basket of them. Very happy that the Mariners and the Guardians aren't playing, because those are the 2 teams I'm rooting for. In the American League, don't have a Guardians jersey. Put the Mariners jerseys up. They're winning all day. Then Yordan crushes the soul of everyone in Seattle, including myself. Awesome. So honestly, Seattle, #CSRise, all you guys out there, that loss was on me.
And I'm not going to say I'm not rooting for the Mariners, but I'm not like invested into like heartbreak when they lose.
I love them. I love them.
That home run from Yordan Alvarez was incredible, and his reaction when he hit it,
And the players' reaction.
High-fiving the players before he got the first. I've
Yes.
never seen that in my life.
No.
That ball was hit so far. I called you immediately when I heard. I heard it. I'll tell you, I was listening to the radio. I heard it. It was so loud on the thing.
Well, okay, so
he
did
must have
you
killed
happen to
that
watch
thing.
MLB Central this morning?
No, I wasn't awake.
Okay, so Roflo, his cousin was in attendance, like a buddy of his, and was recording it. That place, that looked like the most fun place in the world. But what was awesome to me was, and you talk about the high-fiving, was with the speed that all the players got out there.
Knew it was gone.
I mean, Bregman right there. Bregman was there like immediately. It reminded me of Newt. Huh?
He was on
deck. I know, but I'm saying like he was all the way up the line immediately.
That's what I was watching too.
It was incredible.
That because I was watching it, and it was immediate when he hit it. Jose Altuve was sitting down right on the side of the dugout. Immediately when he made contact with the ball, I'm assuming they heard it, and they all got up and ran out there because immediately they knew it was gone. I have never. First player in postseason history to hit a walk-off home run when down by multiple runs in the ninth inning.
Wild. That was one of the wildest stats I've ever heard. I saw that today.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, again, you got Luis Castillo next game. Maybe. Will he throw the next game?
Luis Castillo next game.
Okay. I didn't know if that's what you were going to do. And
George
then you go
Kirby,
home,
game 3.
and you could go Ray, but I almost think you're going to go Kirby.
They announced today it's Kirby.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Okay, so great. That's what I would do. By the way, Logan Gilbert was fucking awesome yesterday. I love seeing that.
His stat line is not going to pop out.
I love that team. J-Rod with a big game. Hey, these lights ain't too bright for me. That's what he said.
They lost that game because those storylines are lost.
You know what else I love? Jared Kelenick's playing meaningful baseball. I'm so happy for him. I love him. But anyway, I love that they went into Toronto. Luis Castillo shoved it right up the Blue Jays' ass. Robbie Ray did not look good, but then they come back game 3 and they take it from Toronto in a wild game, an absolutely wild game. Sorry, it was game 3, right? Game 2.
No, they swept them.
Yeah, that was the wild game where they were down 8-1.
JP Crawford with that insane blooper that
come back. That was awesome.
Bo and Springer got
but
hurt.
Also, here's the thing, Caleb. As much as it hurts to watch our offense here in St. Louis, could you imagine being a Tampa Bay Rays fan? They've got to do something. Like, that team is there every year. That offense is direct. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life, even though it was awesome. But the home run from Oscar Gonzalez, incredible. What a way to win for the Guards.
What a bad
that was
play
fantastic
yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, well, that was bad.
That was horrible.
But also, like, that team cannot – the Rays cannot hit at all.
No, and – I mean, I love that they extended Wander Franco, but he's got to be on the field. He's got to be Wander Franco. Randy Rosarena is not Barry Bonds like he was in the postseason.
No, he is massively declined.
Brandon Lowe's really good. He's always hurt. I like Vidal Brujan as a prospect. They keep trading away guys, and eventually the system's going to bite them in the ass because they keep doing that when they're good, and you can't. They can't trade away in Austin Meadows. I know he had a bad year in Detroit, and I know he had some mental health issues, so I hope he's doing okay. But you can't keep doing that. You have to keep your guys. So
and eventually, Caleb. Eventually, you have to go out and sign a couple hitters. Like, you have to.
Can't. They're getting 2,000 fans a night. They got to get out of that.
We need to move them. We got to get them out of Tampa. We got to get them into Tampa Bay.
Into Tampa Bay, not out of
Tampa
Bay.
There you go.
Into Tampa
yes,
Bay. Tampa Bay. I mean, the Lightning and the Bucks. That place is wild when they play.
Yeah,
it's not Tampa Bay problem.
No, it's a St. Petersburg problem.
I will say, okay, you want to get to the Guardians? Guardians won.
Well, yeah, that's what I want to get to, because what I wanted to say was, as bad as Tampa Bay's offense was, I don't want to take away from their pitching, because their pitching was fucking nails for 6. Right, and then game 1, obviously Bieber goes out and looks great. Game 2, I love Tristan McKenzie, keeps rising up my favorite players in baseball. Love that dude.
Sticks is his nickname.
Plays chess before the game, goes out and dominates, has killer throw. I love that dude. Right,
he's awesome.
But last night, man, they had Cole on the ropes, and they just couldn't get. It's the one thing that's kind of cost the Guardians all year is you need. I mean, outside of J Ram, you need Naylor to be good, and he has yet to be good. They need that. Stephen Kwan, the bomb off Cole, fantastic.
That was awesome.
But you've got to have somebody outside of Jose Ramirez step up. They got Ramirez to strike out in a big situation.
Ramirez hasn't stepped up either. I was about to say.
Well, right. Well, he hit the home run.
Game 1, he had, but
right.
The way that team's built is Jose Ramirez has to step up every game.
But you also need, again, Josh Naylor to step up. You have to have somebody behind him.
Garrett Cole's an interesting postseason pitcher. He has that one inning, and it goes one of two ways. He blows it up, and he's horrible, and the whole city of New York hates him, or he gets out of it, and then he deals the rest of the game. That was, I believe, the 3rd inning. I don't remember what inning it was. They had the bases loaded after Quan homered.
3rd or 4th.
And Naylor looked lost all night. Jose Ramirez didn't look great. He might hit a double though. I might be wrong. He might have hit a double yesterday. I don't know. That team, they're in trouble. They're in deep trouble. I
They
don't
could
think the
be.
Yankees have a powerhouse offense. I know they have some big names in that, and good for Harry Bader, by the way. We'll talk about him in a second.
Yes, agreed.
But I don't think the Guardians have the offense to stay with the Yankees.
And then Josh Donaldson has the Yankee Stadium moment where thought the guy was leaning out.
Become, huh?
Yeah, whatever.
I've been a Josh Donaldson fan my whole life. I have socks with his face on it, but
bringer of rain.
He's gotta start getting in the good side of the news because he's always in something bad.
He really is. Well, game 2 for that series though, you got Bieber versus Cortez. Nestor, great story first half. Really struggled the second half. Has been a little bit better, I think, the last couple weeks. But Shane Bieber has been elite almost the entire season. And I don't know. I think that if Bieber goes out and pitches the way he did in game 1, granted it's Yankee Stadium, it's different than pitching at home against Tampa. But I do believe if he goes out, I think you could go back to Cleveland tied 1-1. I really, truly do. I think that team can, with Bieber on the mound, I think they've got a shot. That's what I'll say. And then you go and you got McKenzie.
You just got the problem with them, and I said this when we were on with D before the playoffs started, when we had hope that the Cardinals weren't awful, was that they got home runs. You have to be able to hit home runs. You just do.
Yeah.
They're the difference. Quan hit one yesterday. No one else did anything. And you look over the other side, you got a big one from Harrison Bader. Did they hit another one? They did, didn't they? Someone else hit another one, right?
Rizzo. Bomb.
Rizzo's big one. That was a good, cool moment. You got to be able to do that. And honestly, like they've got Aaron Judge out. He didn't do anything yesterday.
No.
So that's the guy you're afraid
Stanton.
of. But they have guys throughout the lineup that can homer off you. And it worries me that you're kind of relying on Naylor, Gonzalez, or Ramirez to homer, and no one else can do it really.
Well, you got Quan.
Yeah,
hey, Miles Straw got a hit.
6 the whole year.
Miles Straw got a hit.
He has a hit like his last 5 games in a row.
Yeah. Anyway, I still think because of their pitching that they're going to stay in that series. I really, truly do. Just shifting it over to the National League a little bit. We've talked about ours. It was the Mets choke. Like, come on, that was incredible. Like, hey, it also, by the way, took all the headlines off of the Cardinals. Nobody's talking about the Cardinals anymore. They're talking about Scherzer getting his ass ripped. DeGrom looking good. Bassett getting his ass ripped. And the Padres moving on to play the Dodgers.
The Mets may have built themselves a whole 1-year window. DeGrom's gone. I'll stand by that. DeGrom is gone. The Bassett may be gone. Edwin Diaz, the trumpet man, might be gone.
He's gone. Oh, he's gone for sure.
I think the thing that's crazy to me, Steve Cohen, yeah, he has a lot of money. He's gonna throw it at people. I mean, he's freaking out and kind of just throwing at whoever comes up each year because he wants to make an impact so quickly. He offered more money to Trevor Bauer than the Dodgers did. He offered all this money to Max Scherzer, who, by the way, his stats were pretty good, but down the stretch, I mean, the 2 biggest games he could have pitched in the year, failed both of them against the Mets and then against the Padres. He's throwing money at every free agent.
Braves.
He's trying. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. He's trying. Steve Cohen's trying so hard to make an impact so quickly that every free agent class he's going to try to go for the big fish, and that's not always going to work. Like he's going to sign Carlos Rodon, guaranteed. He will sign him for a lot of money.
That's where I was going with that. Like or Verlander.
I think Verlander go back to Houston. Why wouldn't he?
The Dodgers, like that's a tough matchup. What's the score now? Do you know?
3-3, but the Dodgers are coming. Dodgers does not look good.
And this is what I said earlier. I was like, okay, remind me to say this. One thing with the Cardinals that is different, and we talked about it ad nauseum, but it's something I do think you have the Bears talking about is when the team gets down, you don't feel like they're going to just push their way back. Now, I say that simply because look what the Braves did yesterday. With that lineup, they're never out of a game. They're not. No, they're not. Look at what the Yankees get down 1-0. And I agree with you. I don't think the Yankees lineup is that awesome. But again, they battle back. The Astros are down to their last out. They're never out of a game. I don't care what the score is. The Dodgers are never out of a game. I don't care what the score is. And yes, granted, I just named 3 of the most elite franchises.
Well, the
Cardinals were top. The Cardinals need that's what you have to have. I believe in today's baseball to win a World Series as a team that if you get down, you're not out of it. And it felt like all year, if the Cardinals got down 3 or 4, they had a couple comebacks. But for the most part,
there was a stretch about it.
There was.
Felt like they could come back. Here's the thing that's different. We played the Dodgers 2 times this year. Different times in the year. One was in July. The other one was in September. both times when you got a lead, you felt like they could come back and hurt you.
Correct.
You've got to be able to do it for 162 and the postseason. You
And
can't
as
build a
I'm
team that's just going to get hot for a month. And
as
then
I'm
they're
watching
scary.
these games, I also feel like the Phillies can come back on you, and we saw it with us.
They can do it. They can do it with
right.
Holmes quickly.
But I don't like. Here's the thing: with the Guardians get down 5-0, I don't feel like the Guardians are coming back.
No,
Right? If the Astros jump out on the Mariners tomorrow 4-0 in the second inning, I think the Mariners' offense is great, but I don't think that the Astros' offense stops hitting. So that's where I'm like, if the Cardinals want to be an elite team, hey, if you just want to go along and win the NL Central and get in the playoffs, which it does seem like maybe a lot of people believe, I'm not saying that, but if that's what you want, then this is what you're going to build. But if you want to be an elite team, you have to get depth in that lineup where from 1 through 9, somebody can get you at any point, and you don't ever feel like you're out of it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I agree. They have to get better, and here's the thing: they've got all these young prospects we keep talking about. It's Gorman, it's Walker, it's Carlson. They got to step up. They've got to step up because let's be honest here. We talk about Houston, how great they are. None of their guys, they didn't sign any of these guys other than Michael Brantley, who's not even playing right now. Alvarez, they traded for him, but he was a nobody. He was a throw-in that they developed.
The Dodgers.
Springer and Correa both gone, but both of those guys were big for a long time. Bregman, Altuve drafted. They've got to have these guys have to come up, and they've got to be good.
Yeah, I agree.
Gorman needs to take a step forward. Carlson needs to take a step forward. Carlson took a 90-point downgrade in his OPS this year. You got to go the opposite way. You got to go up.
Yeah.
Gorman, same way.
I agree.
Needs to be. I'm going to be honest with you, Dad. The next 10 years of the Cardinals franchise, and this is a lot of pressure to put on a guy, but if Jordan Walker's not a star, I don't see them having much success.
Yeah. It does make it easy for the Jeff Albert marks, which we've had our conversations on here about. They're clueless. Like the things they say are clueless. But when you see a Carlson regression, right? But here's the thing. I'll go back to it. We said it a half an hour ago. Gorman, Carlson, Yepes, Walker, maybe put them in the lineup every fucking day.
Yeah, Juan Yepes is such a weird one to me because I don't know why. I just don't feel like I don't know what it is with him.
I'm a
He
fan.
can do great. I like him a lot. But I don't know, having him every day in the lineup, we've got to see some progress from these guys. I don't know what it is. Like, look at all these guys in LA. Gavin Lux took a massive step forward this year. Batted over 300, I believe, most of the year. I don't know if he ended there. And the Cardinals just don't get that. Their two best players that we have faith in aren't from our system.
Yeah. But again, I'll go back to you got to let them play. You can't keep fucking around with their heads. You just can't.
No, and to be fair to Ollie, he gave Gorman and Carlson a lot of opportunities.
He did
have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying next year,
I understand the Gorman stuff, but Donovan and Poole has outplayed him. That's the simple reality of it.
I agree.
The big league can't perform.
Well, like we said, big off season for the Cards. I'm excited to watch these games the next couple of weeks. I'll be up Saturday, big game for the U of I. We play Minnesota. So do you you have tickets already? Because we have our tickets.
Yeah, I got them for $20.
Yeah, we got ours for like 30, I think. So we're at section 112. I don't know. Looks pretty good.
Mine are student tickets, so whenever I get there,
sweet. They'll put me. All right. So I'll get it. I'm excited about that to see the U of I.
Looks like Braves are about to take game 2. It's going to be even going to Philly. Yeah, I think that series goes 5.
Yeah.
I think the Phillies win game 1 at home with Nola, and I think the Braves find a way to get to game 5. That's interesting. You could see some upsets in this divisional series, I think. I really do. I think I could see San Diego end up finding a way to somehow weirdly win this series. I don't know.
I can't. I
don't know if they win this game, they get it back to San Diego, and then Big Joe, you want that Snell and Joe, you want to go face them in San Diego?
I get it. I just don't see it. But you could be right. Anything else you want to hit on baseball wise? Hey, sucks. One thing that we didn't hit on, really cool. The only cool thing for the two games, Albert and Yachty's last at bat as a Cardinal, both base hits. Would not have hit Yachty there.
Same as Stanley.
But that's whatever. Hey, but that's really cool. Like those, again, baseball. Like I don't know what else you say.
Statues already, by the way. Like, what do we have to wait till they get in the Hall of Fame? Retire the numbers next year.
Yeah.
Who are we messing with?
Right.
There should never be a number 4 and a number 5 on the Cardinals ever again.
Pretty hard to argue with. So keep an eye on Wayno. We got a lot to do in the off season, but enjoy those of you fans of baseball, like not just Cardinal baseball. This is fun. Like I will say, like I can breathe now. So it's kind of
there
more
was
fun
a part of me yesterday. I didn't go to class yesterday because the Phillies and the Braves were playing, so I didn't go.
So doing great with that education up there.
There's a part of me that was thinking, man, it sucks that the Cardinals aren't here right now, and I'm not watching them today. And then after that thought, it's kind of been like, okay, whatever, they're gone.
Agreed.
Like, yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm sick in the head. I've decided. Like I got immediately after they lost, I got excited and be like, what are they going to do in the offseason?
I
Just to
know.
probably be disappointed with that.
And I don't think so. I
It's a
think
never
you're
ending
right.
cycle.
I think it is. I think it's a massive off season, and it's something that I think every fan
I hope
should
Nolan
be keeping an eye
leverages
on.
his contract status to get them to make moves.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Honestly, I do. I don't think he won't, but I hope he does.
Predictions. I was 2-2. I took the Mariners and the Guardians. Then I took the Cardinals and the Mets.
I was
You
3-1.
also were 2-2.
3-1. I took the Padres.
Yeah, but you didn't take the Mariners. You took the Blue Jays.
Did I?
Yes.
You're right. I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
So you were also 2-2. So to go, we're tied 2-2. Obviously, there were some games played. Houston, Seattle. Who you taking?
Houston. I think they go back to the World Series. I've said that the whole year.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle. There we go. Let's make it fun.
I think they have a chance. I think it goes 5.
All right. Let's go. Yankees, Guards.
Yankees in 2. 3. Yankees in 3.
I'm taking Guards in 5.
No. Yankees in 4. I think McKenzie wins his start.
Guards in 5.
Okay, I hope so. And this is D.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me. I don't like what I've seen from their offense over the last 3 games.
National League, Dodgers, Padres. I'm taking the Dodgers.
I'm taking the Dodgers too, but I hope the Padres do it.
Yeah. Okay. So you just did that.
No,
so
I
now
said
you
I
can't
could-
lose.
No, I said I could see it happening, but if I'm gonna put my
We
money
could
on
lose.
it, I'm saying the Dodgers do it.
Braves, Phillies. I'm taking the Braves.
I think the Phillies win it.
So you're taking the Phillies on record.
I do.
Okay.
I do, and I
All
don't
right.
know why I don't know why, but I do. I feel like the Phillies are gonna win it. I think they've got some magical things going on there.
Speaking of Phillies, like we talked about, guys stepping up. Bryce Harper's had a great start to this playoffs this season. He was 5 for 10 coming in. I think he has 2 hits tonight, 1 or 2.
And he flew out to the warning track twice.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need guys like that to step up. Also, great to see Nick Castellanos have success like he's had the last.
What a play him in the 9th. What a dumb play.
Yeah.
What a play.
Right.
Like if that ball gets by him, he looks like an idiot.
That's
There's
a
no
triple.
reason to do that.
Yeah.
There's no reason for him. And by the
No.
way, if you're gonna dive, don't dive so that the only way that the ball doesn't go by you is if you catch it. That's not how you're supposed to dive.
Also,
but it was a really nice play.
I don't know how you view this, but it's almost like I watch Matt Olson. It seems like he's been in a Braves uni his entire life.
His swing is so nice.
That bomb he hit last night.
Nice.
He is,
Just
or yesterday.
Dead center.
He is so. I'm a fan. It just feels like.
He's from Atlanta.
And here's the thing: you and I talked about this. All the people on Twitter clamoring that we're going to go get Trey Turner or Correa. We're not. But if Turner doesn't go to LA, guess who does? Dansby. And then guess who goes to Atlanta? Trey Turner.
I'll tell that really quickly. Shortstop's not your need.
No, I agree.
You've got 2 young middle infielders. I think the organization believes in both of them. And I'm 2 young second basemen, I should say. And then you've got Tommy Edman, who's just such a valuable player that I don't want to ever see anywhere but St. Louis. So let's just not go down that road.
We also have Mason Wynn knocking down the door at shortstop.
Yeah,
so that's not a spot. Again, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm looking at a starter outside of Waino. I'm looking at a catcher, and I'm looking at a big time outfielder that can hit. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm looking at if I'm the Cardinals.
Or you're looking for guys and there is a world where some of these guys take a step forward and you really don't need that extra bat. But I don't know if I want them to take that chance again.
Could be Tyler O'Neill. Like if he comes back healthy.
Could be Jordan Walker could end up being one of the best.
I'm adding 2 Walker.
I know. I'm saying Jordan Walker has that ceiling of being one of the best.
Yeah.
This isn't your Dylan Carlson, Nolan Gorman, who are your top organizational prospect. This is one of the best prospects in the world, Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
So he could end up being that guy. I really hope he is.
Agreed. Well, anything else?
No, I don't have anything. Well, it's been a really good playoff now. Really good postseason.
Yeah, it has. So fans of baseball, go watch it. Enjoy it. See us rise. Go Mariners. That's who I'm rooting for now. Obviously, I want to see them play the Guardians. I think that would be incredible. Cardinals, like I said, a lot of work. Hey, it sucks. It's being a fan. It's awful. I hate the finality of the season, especially after what happened in 162. I think a lot of us got caught up in that, myself included, which we should have, in believing that magic was going to continue.
That's what being
that
a fan's
magic.
About.
Woo!
Remember when I said every fan base believes they have magic, but only one truly does? Where we're at.
They pulled a dead rabbit out of the hat. That's what they did.
So I'll ask you this: has the games being played up to this point, has it changed your mind on any of the teams currently still playing? Are any of them better than you thought or worse than you thought?
Houston's fucking good.
Same. And I still thought they were the best, but man, I think they might be the best team in baseball.
And I'm going to be honest, I picked the Mariners simply because I love them and I kind of want to be the contrarian. But if we're going to be honest, You could see Atlanta and Houston wear each other out. I mean, Atlanta and LA wear each other out in a 7-game series, and Houston just dominate the rest of the way. With that rotation and that bullpen, they brought in Brian Pena yesterday, one of the best relievers in Major League Baseball, in the 5th inning.
In a mop-up roll down 7-1.
And guess what he did? He kept them in the game, and they ended up winning.
I mean, that team I thought that game was over. I know that's how explosive their offense is, but okay, the Mariners take this one. I still think the Astros win the series. And then they said, fuck you, I'm going to go take it anyway, and we're definitely going to win the series.
Gurriel goes Bridge. Bregman goes Bridge. Like, they don't stop. Altuve looks 25 again. The catcher position, you've got Vasquez, and Maldonado. One of those guys are going to come up with a big hit. Kyle Tucker is Kyle Tucker. I mean, He's
fantastic.
They don't stop.
So
and
Yordan Alvarez might be the best
hitter in baseball. Pena hitting 9th in that lineup, I think.
Pena's hitting second.
That's what I meant. Second. That's right. I forgot. Altuve's leading off. But again, they just come at you over and over and over.
I think Yordan Alvarez may legitimately be. I mean, he's the best left-handed hitter in baseball, and no one's even close to him.
He's Big Poppy, dude. I'll say it again, and I'm not the first one to say it. That's who he is. Yeah.
He had almost 1,000 OPS against left-handed pitchers in the regular season.
Yeah.
He's unreal.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it. Enjoy your Wednesday night. Everybody else, enjoy the weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful, it looks like. I will be up at the U of I game on Saturday. I'm excited about that. But watch a lot of October baseball, watch some college football. Saints won. Let's get them rolling a little bit. And off we go. Sound good?
Sounds good. Also, don't throw Olave on his head like that. That made me sad. That was scary.
Well, he didn't practice
today, but the NFL are getting scary.
It does look like he's going to play this weekend. So.
Oh, he shouldn't.
Well, he did light activity, so evidently he's been cleared. I don't know.
Set him for a week. It's not that important. Okay.
Well, it is. You got
to. Okay, yeah, but his brain health is not. Look at Antonio Brown.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, everybody, have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back next week after this round, right? And that our plan will come back beginning of the next, right before the LCSs.
We'll see how the games go. If there's anything we want to talk about,
and talk to you guys. Have an awesome weekend. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.